I am. So I'll have this recording.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Carolyn, for so
Yep.
much.
And if there's any questions, just let me know afterwards, Amy. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I know we have a small crowd here, but y'all should be really happy about this it's like a private tutoring session. I wish I'd had this when I was in grad school. So I'm Amy Livingston. I'm a speech language pathologist. I've been working, I think it's almost been 25 years now. I can't believe that. Time flies. Dr. Higdon and I worked together at the University of Mississippi, where I was a speech language pathologist and supervisor. I've worked in child language most of my career, but I've also had several adult clients as well. I did not put everything that is on my CV on my slide because there is too many places to talk about. But the one benefit of being a speech language pathologist is you can work at a million different places and a million different settings. And I have done that. I'm currently in Van Buren, Arkansas as a travel therapist. I worked with literacy and child language and Spider-Man. Come here a second. I have Spider-Man in here with me tonight. He was actually, if you watch my video, he was the child that gave you some examples. Come here for just a second. Can I see your face? Look, can y'all see him? I don't know. He's blurred out. He's back there though. There's Spidey. This helps with HIPAA too, but there he is. Okay, so he's finishing up this little session with me, and then I'm taking him to his mom like in just a minute. But he's working on some independent stuff over there. But I'm in Van Buren, Arkansas. I finished up this contract, and I just told Dr. Higdon I'm moving to Idaho next for 3 months. But when I worked with Dr. Higdon at the university, I was co-director of a program called HILL, which worked with a lot of children that are on the autism spectrum, and then severe language disorders. I've done a lot with child language literacy, pediatric dysphagia, oral motor, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like I have a lot of experience, which makes me qualified to help you guys, train you a little bit. Okay, so as Dr. Higdon mentioned, we are using this therapy ed book. If you, I've got my background on, but it's my chapter and this is my favorite part is the Q&A. And I feel like I'm better at Q&A than I am teaching from slides. Like I don't like to teach from slides. But what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to I'm going to try to go with the slide as I ask you some questions, but I'm just going to jump right in and ask you guys some questions. Okay. And I encourage you to use the chat or there's only a few of us here. So if you want to if you want to raise your hand, you can, or you can just unmute yourself and just, tell me the answer. Okay. So I'm gonna give you, let's just start with a question. Okay. First of all, I do want to know, did everybody get to watch my PowerPoint, or have you been able to review this chapter in therapy? And be honest. It's okay if you didn't, but just kind of let me know in the chat, or let me see if I can see do y'all have access to the chat? I think you do. No one's okay. No. Okay. Good. Thanks for being honest. Okay. But I do highly recommend that y'all go back and review my PowerPoint. Okay. But I'm gonna go. Let me go through the chat. That means I should go through let me go through it first then, because I feel like we need to do a little review. Okay, so we're talking about acquisition of language. So this is going to primarily be normal language development. Okay, so if you I'm gonna go through this quickly, and then I would love to see y'all's faces. Y'all don't have to turn off your screen. Let me find my chapter real quick because First of all, you all know what makes up language, right? Okay, so I'm an interactive person, so I'm gonna need y'all to answer me. You can just do it in chat. But so those three parts of language are content, form, and use. Now, we used to talk about content and form first. When I was in graduate school, we would talk about content and form in the acquisition of language, and then we would say pragmatics kind of was almost as an afterthought. I mean, I don't know that they meant it that way, but it kind of seemed that way to me. Well, pragmatics, the research shows us, and I'm sure you all have learned this in your classes, this is one of the first things we're looking at. And with infants, toddlers, preschool language, we are looking at those social skills. We are looking at their ability to use language. So of course, content and form are just as meaningful, but that pragmatic piece starts early. So let's talk about that a little bit. So we know that communication competence, there's two parts of that. That's gestures, which is babies, infants should be pointing by age 12. I see a large quantity of little ones in this clinic that I'm in right now. And if they're not, a lot of them are not talking, but if they should be pointing, they should be waving. I'm always working on taking their hand, wave at me, point at something, move. You've got to be doing something with gesture, means so much to communication competence. My little Spider-Man over there is working on a marble run. So he'll be leaving in just a minute. Hey, Eli, do you think you could move that to the quiet carpet right there? That would help me a lot. Okay. So then the next one is proxemics, which is our proximity. Where are we in relation to the speaker, right? So do we know how to not be too close or be far away, or can we talk at a long, how do we raise our volume if we're in a large distance? Yes. Okay, you what now? Okay, go get it. Go get it. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we're looking at 3 stages of perlocutionary, through the 3 stages of development here during lifespan. It goes all the way through the lifespan. That perlocutionary, this should all ring a bell to you guys from your classes. Illocutionary is 8 to 12 months. Perlocutionary is 0 to 8 months. Locutionary is 1 year to the lifespan. Eli, I need you to be quiet or I'm about to take you to mom. I mean, you're almost done. Okay. So the communicative behaviors that we look at in pragmatics, and I made this little chart from you. It comes from chapter 4. I think this slide is very helpful. I made this and I was very proud of it. But this is just all of it right here in front of you. So infants, eye contact, turn taking, joint attention. And I added this piece that doesn't really talk about it in your book, but joint attention is more than just you and I looking at each other and then sharing a toy together. So it's got so many different steps to joint attention. When I worked with the program at Ole Miss, our University of Mississippi, we used a test, an assessment called CERTS, which looks at social communication, emotional regulation, and transactional support, which is what all those things stand for, all those letters stand for. But the SC and the social communication, the joint attention had about 25, I don't know, I think even more than that. Just in each several levels of joint attention and tons of little tiny little parts, pieces of joint attention. So it's a huge, all throughout the stages of development, joint attention is a huge part of pragmatic behavior. And it's not just that, oh, you and I are looking and we can both play with a toy. It's way more than that. You and I, but it is you and I together doing something, or it's more than one person involved. So that's important to know. Infants and toddlers, speech acts, that starts around 1, right? When we request, and then it gets, as we get older, we're requesting and labeling and naming and protesting and greeting and repeating and calling and practicing. I just had a baby the other day who started calling, which Amy, but there's different than labeling or naming, right? So it's so precious when the calling, I told mom, I get real emotional when my babies start doing stuff they couldn't do. And I was like, they're calling me now, which is a whole different thing. Some of them are Miss Amy or Miss Amy or at me or, whatever. But whatever, if it start calling my name or trying to get my attention in some way, where can we find this PowerPoint? Carolyn, are you on here? Can you tell them how to have access to this? I think they give it to you somehow.
Okay. What are you looking for access to?
The PowerPoint that I have right here, where can they find?
Is this the one you included in your
Yes.
first recording?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll see it in that recording. Now, I don't know if they can download it from there. I don't think so, but
okay.
it's embedded in that recording then.
Okay.
In
So,
the
but if
video,
they wanted a
video.
copy of my PowerPoint, I mean, I
Okay,
don't mind them.
if they want it and you're willing to give it, just put your address in the chat and be willing to send it to them.
Okay, I'll do that. Why don't you, if you want the PowerPoint, I will give you my email in the chat. This is my, I think this will be the easiest way. And you email me and I will send it to you. How about that? I don't mind you having it. So, okay. You need something, Spidey? Okay, you can turn that on. Okay, so you're welcome. All right, so then we're going to move on from pragma. I'm going to, well, I think I skipped a little bit, but if you go to preschoolers, it starts requesting permission, making jokes, asking questions. Older students, we get into conversation, longer linguistic units, narratives, etc. The book, I'm not going to say it again. This book, I love it. I do not think it is, some textbooks are so boring. This one just highlights stuff so good. I'm not sure what that word is. You guys spell it again. I think you misspelled it. Okay. So phonology is our next part of language, and phonology has the system of sound, right? It's made up of consonants and vowels. And I will tell you, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I feel like just in the last year, I have learned more about the system of sound and phonology because I'm doing so much with dyslexia and literacy. And we never stop learning in this career. I mean, I knew a lot, but I know now I even know more because I'm teaching CV and CVC and CCVC combos, and I'm teaching placement of sound while we're reading, and where do you make the sound, and we do a lot of voice and voiceless and all the things about phonology to teach reading. I use it in I'm using a research-based literacy program that Orton Gillingham is the kind of the gold standard reading program, but I'm using a lot of that stuff, and it just goes back to all of this phonology, all the phonology that we've learned back in the day that you're learning right now. And you will be amazed at how just these foundational skills will continue to develop in everything that you do throughout your career, regardless of your population that you're working with. So phonological processes are our patterns of you. Do you all know everything I'm saying? You've heard all this before, right? Phonological processes, dialectal variations, all these things have to be considered when we're looking at phonology, reading and writing, phonological awareness. We know that some of those phonological patterns or processes are, everybody has them. Some of them are just, they're typical. And then there's some atypical ones. And there's some that are abnormal. You shouldn't have them past a certain age. All right, now we're going to get into semantics. And the first thing I think of when I say semantics is word meaning or vocabulary. There in the blue one. System of meaning, lexicons, noun. If you look right here at this little picture, a apple, for example, how am I going to make this object become in my lexicon? How do I know what the name of that is? And then this phonological loop is, let me tell you what I want to skip over this. Hold on. This phonological loop refers to spoken language and verbs and all the biological environmental factors that are involved in developing phonology. Nouns are our largest portion of our vocabulary. And that's in any culture. Nouns are going to be your biggest group of words that people have in any culture. Verbs are next. We don't start getting verbs until 24 months. You will notice there's when children have trouble with verbs, you can tell that is typically an indicator of a specific language impairment. There's little things like that you should know about semantics. Spoken language, obviously, vocalization, babbling, jargon. I'm going through this so fast, y'all. I'm just trying to give you a little review of what we're about to do some questions and answers on. And I'm going to give you like a 2-minute break while I take Eli to his mom after I go over these slides. Okay. And morphology is like the system of structure. That's MLU. That's grammatical morphemes, a specific language impairment, prefixes, affix, which is prefix, suffix. That's making up a morpheme. That's the smallest unit of meaning of a word or of a grammatical structure. So this is my little slide on that. In my PowerPoint, I said I forgot to take out this apple picture, but honestly, it still goes with syntax. So all these kind of go together, right? So syntax is your word order. So noun phrases, verb phrases, what, where, who questions, imperatives, negatives, syntactic construction combination. I use this example right here of this pig. I had this with a child the other day in a game we were playing of it's a fun way to teach how to make a sentence. So who did it? What did they do? And where are they doing it? And sometimes you can do a little add-on at the end, but it's a great way to kind of create sentence structure. So I use that as a little example in this PowerPoint. Okay. Cognitive development. This is underneath all those content, form, and use of language. We've always got the cognitive part that matters. If a child does not have the adequate IQ and they're lower, you've got all that matters depending on their abilities. Like if they're low in their ability to learn, then their language is going to be low. And then how high can they actually go if we don't have the cognitive piece? So we've got to look at working memory. We've got to look at cognitive development, long-term memory, play. Yes, just leave the door open because I'm about to take you to mom. Okay. Executive function and regulation. I am looking at executive function so much lately, just with empathy and children's ability to emotionally regulate. I mean, I have not done any research on it myself, but I've never seen anything like I'm seeing now with school age kids, and just the ability to regulate their emotions and I don't know if it's COVID related. I don't know if it's environment. There's a ton of factors I believe that are involved, but that executive function piece is huge, and not able to react or even organize themselves in order to make decisions. It's a part of this right now with Eli in this session is, obviously I work on actual language and vocabulary and things like that, but him being able to self-regulate and do a task on his own and be able to figure out how to interrupt me or not interrupt me. I mean, I do real life stuff all the time. Obviously I'm multitasking and I'm juggling. I don't do sessions like this all the time, but today I needed to, and it actually, his mom knows I'm doing this, and it actually helps him not, because one of the complaints his teacher has in the classroom, he's out of the room, so I can tell you this, one of the teachers in this classroom, the complaint is he's touching everything and he's always interrupting her and he's moving all the time and he can't be still. And so this is so good for him in a safe place with me to be able to regulate. And Miss A needs talking, so I have to do this, but then I need to do this. So that's a lot of emotional regulation. You can close the door. Emotional regulation and executive functioning in that. And then I think I forgot play. Play is the child's, obviously that's just their work, is play. That's how we learn. In my room, we are all in my therapy, everything we're doing is play. All the time we're playing. And remember that behavior is all a part of communication. So these are just some quotes that I have. I'll let y'all look at those real quick, about cognitive development and self-regulation, how they're so connected. Can you start cleaning up over there for me and put all the marble stuff in that little bag, and then I'm going to take you to mom. You have done so well, and I'm so proud of you. And here's the quote about play. It's often talked about as if it were serious. We're a relief from serious life. I love Mr. Rogers. If y'all don't know who Mr. Rogers is, you need to go watch his movie. But I grew up on Mr. Rogers. All right, so that was a lot of fast talking, but hopefully y'all got something out of that. Does anybody, before I start with these little questions, okay, I'm looking at y'all's chat. Okay. Before I start with these questions, does anybody have a question? Were y'all able to listen to that so fast? I'm sorry, but I just really don't want to spend all the time on the PowerPoint. I wanted to get into the questions. So what we're going to do is I'm about to take my little loud friend over here to his mom. I'm going to give y'all a little break, but when we come back, it's just like a minute. I'm going to run downstairs. It won't take but a second. So I'll be right back. But I'm going to ask you questions that are very praxis-like questions. And if it's, I did not put these on PowerPoints. I did this last year and I didn't have to put them on PowerPoints. I felt like the students did well with them. I will ask you the question and I will give you the choices auditorially. So I will tell you A, B, C, or D, and then you just guess your answer through chat, and then we'll kind of discuss it and any questions you have. And also just know that all these answers are in this book. I'm assuming you all have this book. If you do not, just go get it. Okay. So it's Miss Dr. Higgins already told you guys. It really, and I'm not doing it just because I just think it's an incredible resource. And I've done a lot of praxis prep, and I think this one is really good. Okay. So can I give y'all 2-minute break and I'll be right back. Go grab some water, whatever you need to do. I'm going to run him to his mom and then I'll be right back. Okay. All right, sweet boy. Is Spidey still here or did I have Eli back? Let me see, it's Spidey. Okay, you did really good. Do you understand what we were doing? So I was having you do some stuff. Did you finish your gratitude pie? You want to take this to mom or you want to hang it on my door? So what does this say you were thankful for? What's that say? Sound. What does that say? What does it say? What's that sound you like? A bird? You don't want to talk to me? Do you want to give it to mom or me? Oops. Just dropped everything. Okay, I'm back. Are y'all here? Okay, thank y'all. All right, you ready? Yes, it is the National Speech Language Pathology Exam Review and Study Guide. Therapy Ed, 2nd edition. Okay. All right, y'all ready? This is the fun part. Okay, you've got that one. Okay, good. All right. And if y'all want to take your microphones off and talk to me, this is casual. I mean, I know you might feel more comfortable in the chat, whatever you want to do. I appreciate you let my little friend be. And it's honestly, he's a good example of some things. So I kind of liked you kind of saw what I was doing, and then I'll refer to him some through this session. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to just potluck this and kind of pick some questions. So this one, are y'all ready? Everybody ready? Okay. I'm looking for some yeses. Yes. Okay. A 2-year-old child demonstrates typical development. Which of the following semantic structures would the child most likely demonstrate? 2 years old. Okay. A, declarative sentences and contracted forms. B, gestures and phonological process suppression. C, relational terms and interrogative terms, or D, derivational affixes and bound morphemes. Or just get, if you don't know, just guess. Or if you need me to repeat it, I will do that. Okay, so we've got some B's and we've got some A's. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all that I can see why you would pick those, but let me tell you, so the answer is C, and let me read about it for you. So relational, on, under, next to, this is a 2-year-old. And in interrogative, what, who, how, why, are semantic structures that are typically developed by 24 months. You don't think that. You kind of think, well, that would be older. But the 2-year-old is that brain is, those neurons are firing like crazy. They are learning so much language and they know so much language about 2. So additional terms that are developed include temporal relationship, when, before, physical relations, big, little, wide, narrow, and kinship terms like son, parent, aunt, and nephew. Declarative sentences and contracted forms are syntactic structures. Gestures are pragmatic constructs, and phonological process suppression deals with phonology. So you're really looking at, hold on just a second, semantic structures. So that's your keyword. So sometimes, I'm going to give you a little tip on these questions. I'm going to tell you what the praxis, how it's, I don't believe that they're trying to trick you, but sometimes it can be tricky because you're focused so much on a 2-year-old and what a 2-year-old can do. Also look at your other keywords in the paragraph, like semantic structure. What does semantic actually mean? That's the meaning of words. So make sure you're not looking at pragmatics. Make sure it's, that's how you can get rid of some of these answers, right? So phonological processes needed to be out immediately because that's phonology. So we know it's not that one, right? Declarative sentences, I mean, that's going to be syntax, and we're not talking about that. So that kind of stuff, okay? So make sure you understand. That's why it's important to understand those 3 components of language. Yes, the age matters and what's happening at what ages, but know your different parts of language. So when these questions ask you, you're looking at keywords. Okay, let's try another one. A typically developing 4-year-old preschooler is brought to a speech language clinic for an evaluation. Which of the following structures would most likely be in the child's language repertoire? So I'm going to tell you here, the key words are typical developing, 4-year-old preschooler, structures, most likely. Okay, so you're just looking for some keywords here, right, in their language repertoire. Okay, so A, suggesting intention, emerging mastery of the copula to be, identifying the first word in a sound. B, predominantly nouns, calling and requesting action intentions, ritual request gestures. C, spurts in word learning, combining 2 and 3 words, deletion of possessive S. D, combining single words with pointing, 50 words in expressive vocabulary, word composed of open syllables. Oh, can I repeat A and B? Sure. Sorry, this one, it's hard to, and it probably would help to be able to see it. So I apologize for that. Maybe I should do that. Okay, so A, suggesting intention, emerging mastery of copula to be. This is all in A. Suggesting intention, emerging mastery of copula to be, identifying the first sound in a word. B is predominantly nouns, calling and requesting action intentions, ritual request gestures. Okay, what y'all got? B and C. Okay. All right, y'all, don't don't be hard on yourselves. But the answer is A. A typical 4-year-old child usually exhibits more sophisticated, pragmatic, metalinguistic, and grammatical forms. The other item in this question all occurs at an earlier development. So this is different than the other one I told you. This one really does matter about the age. So let's just talk about these again for a second. So A was suggesting intention, emerging mastery of to be, identifying the first sound in a word. Okay. So 4 years old, we identifying a first sound in a word, that's about when they're doing that, right? So this is the correct answer. They're using to be, so they're using is, am, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of, when I read that, I think, okay, that sounds preschool. Like around preschool, they start learning those first sounds of words. They start learning, some know the first letter of their name, B, predominantly nouns, calling and requesting action, ritual request gestures. When I see that gestures, I know that's younger, right? So that's gonna be younger than 4. C, spurts in word learning, combining 2 and 3 words. That's gonna be a 2 and 3-year-old, right? Deletion of possessive S, we know that's baby, that's infant, toddler. D, combining single words with pointing 50 words in their vocabulary. So we know it's not that. So y'all had already gotten some of those marked off, but we know it's not that one. So another tip is, and this is something that goes all the way back to your testing in grade school, high school, just get rid of the ones you know are definitely not. Okay, that's going to be way too young. Not that one. That's going to be not, definitely not that, get rid of yours. And then you're usually down to about 2. And then you can get your answer. Okay. Any questions? I really feel like the study, giving you some study tips. Don't worry about missing these answers. Okay. That's the least of my concern right now. I think you're going to know a lot more than you think you know when you take the test. You've got to learn some test taking strategies. That's the key, is like understand how the questions are given, understand how it's asked, what it's asking you. You know the information. I guarantee you know it. But I would study. I'm not saying don't study. You definitely need to study. I remember studying a lot. Okay, so let's do another one. This isn't. Yeah, I'll do this one. Okay. This is a 20-month-old. Okay. So a 20-month-old child is brought to a clinic for a comprehensive evaluation with a SLP. The child displays typical development. Which key milestones would the child most likely demonstrate? Okay, so we know this child is 20 months old. So you should be thinking right now, 20-month-old. Okay, that's almost 2. What should they be doing? What should they be doing at that age? So y'all ready? A, embedding sentences, expanding sentence types, conjoining sentences. Does that sound older, younger, about age 2? Think to yourself. B, showing objects, giving objects, pointing to objects. Does that sound older, younger, about age 2? C, 50-word vocabulary size, word spurt, combining words. Does that sound older, younger, about age 2? D, increase in verb vocabulary. This is typical developing we're looking for. Increase in verb vocabulary, mastery of copula, and auxiliary morphemes, phonological awareness skills. Older, younger, about age 2. Okay, let's see what y'all know. So A, B, C, or D? Yay, yes. Y'all know this one. C. Good. So y'all are doing, I think you're using your skills too a little bit better now. Okay. So good. Okay. Are y'all feeling a little better about the way the questions are asked and the way to think about them and to answer them maybe? Yes. Feeling better. Okay, good, good. It's okay. Remember, it's okay to miss some. Like you got to get over that nervousness and over that feeling of Oh my gosh, what are we talking about here? And y'all, you're taking a million classes and, so that's a lot. Okay, let's do a few more here. Okay. We're going to go to about 7. Well, y'all are Eastern time, so I get so mixed up on my times, but 7:15 my time. So that's 8:15 your time. I think that's what Dr. Higgins said. Okay. So pre-verbal and early language. Okay. So here we go. This is a 2-year-old. I don't think I've done this one. Oh no, I already did that one. Sorry. I don't want to do that one again. Okay. This is just a review question. This is an easy one. Let's just try this. Which of the following is not an expected communicative intention of infants and toddlers? Okay. A, requesting, B, greeting, C, calling, or D, persuading. Yeah, look at y'all, smarties. Okay, good. All right, let's do another one. Which cognitive skill reflects what a child has represented as knowledge in their mind? A, sustained attention, B, behavior regulation, C, play, D, emotional regulation. I hope I didn't confuse y'all a while ago when I told y'all some stuff. Does anybody know? Cognitive skill reflects what a child has represented as knowledge in their mind. So what cognitive skill reflects what a child, so what does a child do all the time that represents the knowledge in their mind? I talked about it while ago on the slides, like this is, I'm going to give you a hint, but this is child's work. So is it sustained attention? Yeah, play. You got it. Sustained attention, behavior regulation, or emotional regulation, or play. I was afraid I confused y'all because I talked about emotional regulation so much, but this cognitive skill that a child has represented as knowledge in their mind, the way they demonstrate what they know is always through play. Okay. All right, let's do one more of these little short questions, and then we'll go to do some longer case study kind of ones. Which of the following best describes referential children in terms of language learning? I'm going to repeat that, okay? Which of the following best describes referential children in terms of language learning? A, they demonstrate a slow and steady pace in word learning. B, they learn and use language as holistic chunks. C, they reach morphological and syntactic milestones sooner. They have nominal accounting for less than half their lexicon. So we're talking about a referent, describes referential children in terms of language learning. Does anybody know? Can I repeat it? Yeah. A, they demonstrate a slow and steady pace in word learning. B, they learn and use language as holistic chunks. And then C, I'll just go ahead and repeat them all. They reach morphological and syntactic milestones sooner. It's actually C. They reach morphological and so referential children. I don't know. That one's kind of I feel like it's a little ambiguous the way they're talking about it. But if you think of a referent or what children are using as reference, I think it's meaning that they're understanding language in it better, right? So then C. Oh yeah, you got it, Campbell. Okay. All right, so let's do this one more of these little short ones. During which stage are adults inferring communicative intent for unintentional behaviors? Adults, okay, so is it perlocutionary, illocutionary, locutionary, or postlocutionary? Inferring. Can I repeat? Sure. During which stage are adults inferring communicative intent for unintentional behaviors? I'm going to go back. Let me go back. Just let me go back. Oh, here we go. So your perlocutionary stage of development at 0 to 8 months. What are you doing during that time? So this is kind of tricky because you think at what's it's saying during, I'm just helping y'all here. Okay. You said illocutionary, but it's actually perlocutionary. I mean, because it's kind of tricky. So you're thinking, why would it, what is an adult inferring communicative intent for unintentional behaviors? So it's actually happening really early. So it's perlocutionary. So isn't that interesting? So go back and just review your stages so you kind of know what's happening at these developmental stages. I'll just show you in this book. It's chapter 4. Is that what I said it was? Yeah. So give me one sec. Let me find this. Okay, so at this perlocutionary stage, this is on page 90 of your book if you want to go look at it if you have a book, but it actually says it. It says adults infer communicative intent from unintentional vegetative behaviors such as the infant's cough or burp. So that's what it's talking. It's talking about they're inferring from the infant. It left that out in the question, which is kind of tricky. So you kind of have to infer that. Okay. So that 0 to 8 months is when we're kind of having to determine, is that vegetate, is that meaning something? You know, everybody thinks their baby's meaning something. Sometimes it's just a reflexive thing and it's not. Okay, let's do this one. How many words are typical in a 24-month-old's vocabulary? This is 2 years old, 24 months. Is it A, 10 to 50 words, B, 50 to 100 words, C, 100 to 300 words, or D, 500 plus? C, that's right, 100 to 300 words. Remember, at 2, they just start exploding, right? Like it just goes fast from 18 months to 2. It just goes, it's out of control. You get your first word at 1. That first year, you get up to about 50. And then from 18 months, you got 50 or whatever. And then 18 months, 24 months, it is just exploding. So at about 24 months, you're at 100 to 300 words. Typical for typical kids. Okay. Which of the following does not define a late talker? A, speaks fewer than 50 words. Which does not. Remember those does nots in it. Those does not questions. A, speaks fewer than 50 words. B, does not combine 2 words. C, more girls than boys are late to talk. Oh, or D, also referred to as a late language emergence. Did y'all answer? Oh, okay. So it's actually C. More girls than boys are late to talk. So it's, it's more boys than girls. You know that, right? Like, so on the late talker, it's called late language emergence, same thing. They don't typically combine the 2 words. It's typically in boys. They speak fewer than 50 words. Okay, those are some of the characteristics. Okay. Let's do one more. one more of these and I'll do a couple more case studies. Um, which of the following is a good measure of syntactic development? A, mean length of a child's sentences and morphemes. B, length of individual words in a sentence. C, mean number of words in a sentence. D, number of correct sounds in a word. This is syntactic development. Yay, yes, A, MLU. That's right, because that's your number of morphemes that you're using. So what are you putting in your repertoire of your word order? Okay. I'm going to do one more. Sorry, I said one, and then I'll do some cases. I'm sorry, I just keep finding good ones that are good for y'all to your brain. I like these short ones. The following is what type of sentence? My mom smiled when I cleaned up my room. Is that a simple sentence? A complex sentence? B, a compound sentence? C, or a negative sentence? D. Yeah, y'all know that. Complex. Good. Okay. So are y'all feeling, I mean, I know you're kind of like, oh, some of this I know, some of this I don't know. That's typically normal. It's typical. It's normal. That's what I meant to say. All right, let's do. All right, here we go. An infant is being evaluated by an SLP during an early intervention home visit. The SLP notes that the infant demonstrates vocal play, raspberries, trills, and marginal babbling during the evaluation. Which stage of linguistic development is the infant most likely in? A, exploration expansion stage. B, coo and goo. C, canonical babbling. Or D, phonation. Okay, y'all all think it's coo and goo? All right. That's a very good guess. But it is not. It is exploration and expansion. And let me read you what it says in the book so you'll know what. Hallmark characteristics of the exploration expansion stage include vocal play, squeals, raspberries, trills, frication noises, fully resonated vowels, marginal babbling, and a variation in pitch and loudness. As the child from this scenario demonstrates several of these characteristics, it is appropriate to say he is in the exploration expansion stage. In contrast, during the phonation stage, a child would demonstrate predominantly reflexive and vegetative sounds. If they were in the coo and goo stage, it'd be quasi-resonant nuclei, back consonants and vowels, self-imitations. So I know, and if they're in canonical babbling, he would demonstrate reduplicated or non-reduplicated babbling. So those are ones that you should just write out, do some flashcards and write down your stages. The same with the perlocutionary and illocutionary and locutionary. Write out your stages and just like this, like write out all your stages, write out certain vocabulary words, get you some good flashcards. You can divide it up, in your classes, like, hey, we're going to do preschool language, you do, speech sound disorders, whatever, however you want to do it, to make you some good flashcards to remember these stage, especially when you're looking at stages of development. I remember having, still even to this day, I have to sometimes have the sheets in front of me or write it down or put it in notebooks, because it can get confusing when you're, and especially if you're doing it real quick, you're in an evaluation. Now, when's a typical child supposed to do this? When are they supposed to do that? Yes, for the most part, like obviously I've been doing this 25 years, for the most part, but there's some little things that you have to kind of go back and look. So you want to make sure, I would, to try to, get a good understanding of what's happening in these certain stages. I will tell you, I mean, I hope this is good advice, but in the praxis, I don't feel like it is so specific that there's no way you can remember. I feel like it's general enough that the way it tests and the way it asks, especially if you can figure out how to eliminate some of those. Let me go back here. Sorry. If you can eliminate some of those questions that just don't make sense, or the answers, sorry, that don't make sense, and you can get rid of some of those, that you're going to be able to figure out the right answer. Just don't let little words trip you up. Also, remember, y'all are doing this auditorily right now, and I feel like if you were seeing this, you probably would make better choice, some of the choices better. It's hard, but I like doing it this way because you're processing it differently. And then I'd study both ways. All right, let's do couple more. All right. All right. A parent brings a typically developing 15-month-old to an outpatient clinic. The parent is concerned that the child is delayed in speaking words and knows only about 10 words. What is the best response to the parent's concern? Okay, so they're 15 months and they only know 10 words. Is that, think in your mind, is that typical? They got their first word at about 12, I'm helping y'all. First word at about 12 months, so they're 15 months, they only know about 10. Let's see. A, recommend a full speech language hearing evaluation to determine why the child is delayed. B, reassure the parent the child's delays are mild and with time will learn more words. Hopefully y'all know for sure that one's out. Okay, C, inform the parent that speaking 10 words is typical for a 15-month-old. Or D, provide a brief screening to determine if the child would benefit from speech language services. Okay. So honestly, in the real life scenario, I probably would recommend a speech language eval just because the parent was concerned. But the answer is C, because by the time the child is 15 months old, their lexicon is about 10 words in size. You don't have that many words at 15 months. But by the time they're 19 months, remember that when you're all getting up to 20 months, 19, 20 months, 100 to 300 words because it takes off, right? So the answer is C. 10 words is typical. You inform the parent. Okay. Are y'all feeling frustrated? Don't feel frustrated. It's okay. This is good for you. It's good to see where you're like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right. I'm sorry if y'all hear the background noise. I've got my staff out in the hall having a good old time at the other speech therapist. Okay. That just lets you know that it's a fun place to work. Okay. And people are enjoying their jobs. There's a PT out there too. I hear him too. Okay. So pre-verbal and early language. Next one. A 6-month-old. Y'all ready? A 6-month-old is being evaluated through a local early intervention clinic. During the evaluation, the SLP observes the infant exclaiming, "Mama, mama, mama," and "ba, ba, 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 ba," happily and frequently. What stage of linguistic development has the infant most likely achieved? A, exploration and expansion. B, coo and goo. C, canonical babbling. D, phonation. Canonical babbling. Y'all got it. C. Okay. All right. All right, let's do another one. Okay. I like I like the little case studies. I think they're helpful because it tells you the ages of the child and you have to kind of, do I know this? And that's when you make your flashcards after the session or tomorrow, this weekend, I would go and make you some flashcards on preschool language and infant and toddlers and their ages and what should they be doing. And, there's so many different charts and so many things you have to know, but I would when is canonical babbling? When is this? When is that? And just get you some good flashcards. All right. A 15-month-old toddler is reported to be pointing 15 months, but does not yet have any discernible words. 15 months, can't understand anything they're saying. The child babbles and appears to understand some words when the parent says the name of family members or favorite toys. Which statement best describes the child's language development? Y'all ready? A, there is an early language disorder. B, there is an early language difference. C, the child is typically developing. Or D, the child has an early language delay. Obviously, you don't have enough information to do. I always say we need more information than that, but that, yes, D. D is the, oh, did y'all say D? Yeah, D. Okay. D. By the age of 15 months, a typical language learner would have an average of 12 words. A 15-month-old with no words would draw concern from the speech language pathologist and indicate a delay. You can't really say it's a disorder, but definitely a delay. Okay. Are y'all good? Is this helpful? Okay. Okay, good. All right. I feel like my talking with you like this, even though you're not talking back to me, I would prefer you to do that, but you're chatting with me in the chat, so that works. But I do feel like that this kind of is a good way of teaching, because it kind of helps you I kind of go through it a little bit, give you, practice it. Okay, let's see. Let's do this one. An infant is raised in a home with English speaking parents, but one who also speaks German. The parents have decided to expose their child to both languages while the child grows up. What type of bilingualism best describes this scenario? And I didn't really go over this in my PowerPoint, but it does talk about it briefly but we did talk about language difference, and y'all should know a little bit. So let's listen. A, successive bilingualism. B, simultaneous biculturalism. C, simultaneous bilingualism. Or D, generative biculturalism. Yes. Yes. See, and that is one that you can just kind of use common sense, but you also know biculturalism, that's not anything we're talking about with speech language pathology. So we knock out those two, but bilingualism, is it successive or simultaneous? And then we can kind of figure that out. Okay. Good work. Okay. Let's try. And these are all in the back of this book. There's like several like praxis simple tests. And I think they're fantastic, because this is very much like how the praxis asks questions. So I think these are very helpful. And I'm just kind of picking through the ones that are just pre-verbal and early language, or language acquisition of pre-verbal and early language. Okay. Speech and language researchers are attempting to determine the cause of language disorders in young children. They believe that specific biologic feature differences in children are the root cause of language disorders. Which would be the best hypothesis for these researchers? A, language disorders are caused by brain asymmetry in children. B, language disorders are caused by a lack of literacy opportunities in children. C, language disorders arise due to differences across language learning environments in children. Or D, children with language disorders demonstrate limited processing capacity. I'm going to go back and tell you one thing in this. Remember, it said these researchers believe that specific biological feature differences in children are the root cause of language disorders. But they think biological, so you're going to get rid of anything that's environmental, right? So what do y'all think it is? Do y'all need me to repeat them? A, language disorders are caused by brain asymmetry in children. B, language disorders are caused by a lack of literacy opportunities in children. C, language disorders arise due to differences across language learning environments in children. D, children with language disorders demonstrate limited processing capacity. Okay. Okay. It's going to be A. It's going to be A because a biological feature is brain asymmetry in children. Okay. So, but yeah, I see why you would say to demonstrate the limiting processing capacity, but that's very hard to measure biologically, right? So I could see why you would say it would be D, but let me read what they wrote. Potential causal factors for childhood language disorders may be broken down into biological, environmental, and cognitive differences. So biological features that may account for childhood language disorders include brain asymmetry in children with language disorders and chromosomal differences. In contrast to this, limited processing capacity in children with language disorders are considered a cognitive deficit. So that cognitive piece is considered different than a biological piece. Okay. So does that help you understand why it's not D? And then a lack of literacy opportunities and limited language learning environments are considered environmental. Okay. All right, let's do I don't know, 3 more. Okay. An SLP observes a 13-month-old child to make eye contact and to point to interesting items around the room. The SLP documents these findings as consistent with which type of communication? A, nonverbal behaviors. B, discourse related skills. C, theory of mind. D, verbal behaviors. Yay. And yes, there are easy questions like that on the practice. No, they're not all tricky and hard, but there's a combo of both. So just know some of them you're going to be like, I know this one. Okay. All right. This is a good one. An SLP evaluates a child in an outpatient setting. The SLP observes the parent speaking to the child with exaggerated speech, short utterances, and heightened inflection. Which term best describes the parent's speech style? A, parent tease. B, bootstrapping. C, word learning bias. Or D, frequent exposure to television. You got it. See, y'all know parentese. Ease or parentese, however you say it. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Add a couple more. I did that one. Okay. Oh, okay, this is good. This is a different one. Okay. The parents of an English-speaking preschooler have decided to send their child to a Spanish-speaking child care to aid in learning both languages. Which term best describes this decision? A, successive bilingualism. B, simultaneous bilingualism. C, generative language. D, non-standard dialect. That's right. A. Ready? Speech and language researchers are attempting to determine the causes of language disorders in young children. They believe that specific biological feature differences in children are the root cause of language disorders. Which would be the best hypothesis for these researchers? A, language disorders are caused by brain. Oh, already did this one. Sorry. Y'all already know. Okay. During a speech language evaluation, a 3-year-old child makes the following utterance. Me fell down. Mommy's book. And is she here? In what stage of Brown's morphological development is the child? A, stage 1, B, stage 2, C, stage 3, D, stage 4. Yep. C, let's see, C, stage 3, Brown stages. So y'all know that good. C, stage 3. A 15-month-old toddler. Wait, did I already do this one, y'all? Now I'm getting confused with myself. Well, I'm doing it again if I did it. Okay. A 15-month-old toddler is reported to be pointing, but does not yet have any discernible words. I think I did this, but we're doing it again. The child babbles and appears to understand some words when the parents say the names of family members. Which statement best describes the child's language development? So I'm going to let y'all tell me. Is it early language delay, early language disorder, typical developing, or early language difference? Y'all should know this one. We already did this one. Do y'all remember? Early language delay. Yep, good. And you know why. We did this one. I think I've gotten most of these. All right, here's one. An SLP, we're gonna do 2 more. An SLP is complete. I said that a while ago. I do that all the time with my kids. Y'all in therapy, I'll go, we've got 1 more, and then I'll be like 10 minutes later, 2 more. Okay. An SLP is completing a language evaluation on a young child. During the evaluation, the child produces the utterance, the boy pushed the cars. How many bound morphemes should the SLP document from this child's utterance? The boy pushed the cars. Yep, there are 2 bound morphemes in the sentence. The plural morpheme after car and the past tense morpheme ed after pushed or push, excuse me. Okay. One more. I really think this is going to be the last one. Hold on. An SLP has completed an observation of an interaction between a parent and a child. The parent states to the child, look at the doggy. See how pretty. What a pretty doggy. Look, woof, woof. Which term best characterizes this interaction? A, mutual exclusivity. B, baby ease. C, aided language stimulation. Or D, mother ease. Y'all are going to be so mad, but it's mother ease. Mother ease is characterized by shorter phrases, sing-song voice. I didn't do it in the tone that, I could have gone, look at the doggy, see how pretty. Woof, woof. Aided language stimulation is a term typically used in the augmentative and alternative communication field to indicate that communication partners are modeling their language output. All right, so that's one of those things that they were trying to trick you because y'all are probably like, okay, it just seemed like, oh, they're helping them with their language, right? But that's a term used just with AAC. So, I know I said that was the last one, but let me just make sure there's not any other really good ones. Okay. Y'all ready? Last one. We'll go out with a bang. A 13-month-old child is brought to a speech language clinic for a comprehensive evaluation with a speech language pathologist. The child is typically developing and meeting language milestones. Which key language milestone would the child most likely demonstrate? 13 months. A, ability to use present progressive verb endings. B, 50-word vocabulary size. C, naming familiar objects, pointing to items, and demonstrating joint attention. Or D, cooing, gurgling, and beginning of babbling. 13 months. What do y'all think? Yes, C, naming familiar objects, pointing to items, and demonstrating joint attention. Very good. Okay, so how are y'all feeling right now? Like, are you feeling like, ooh, I gotta make me some flashcards? I need to go back and review. I mean, I think I know, or what do you think?
I feel like I know the basics, but the way that things are worded, I feel like that's what makes it really complicated.
Yes, and I think it's gonna be better when you're reading it. I really do. So, don't, don't stress too much about. I mean, I think it does help to read it, but I like this format though, because for me, but I mean, I could put them up on the screen and let you kind of look, and maybe I'll do that next. What do y'all think? I mean, do you making flashcards? Okay. What do you think? Do you think next time I should put them on the screen and let you see them so you can read them? I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you didn't like this format, but just let me know. Put it in the chat or tell me what you think, so we'll know. I started an online study program. It worked well. Review visuals. Okay. When are y'all taking your praxis? You think options would help? Okay, so having the visual would help. Okay, I think so, probably too. It's hard to put all of these questions on a probably February. Okay, you're taking it this semester. Okay. Okay. Well, I wish you all the very best. And just remember that you can take it again. So don't freak out, but also December and January. I think I took mine in January back in whenever that was a long time ago. But just the best advice I can give you is you're the same person you are before you take it as you are after you take it. Like a test does not define you. So don't try to always remember that. Like you worked hard and you definitely have to pass it. I mean, I'm not saying that, but it doesn't define you. So make sure you remember that. And then do the practice test, study, get yourself ready. Don't just walk in there. Make sure you study. Okay. All right. Dr. Higdon, are you still here? She's still on there. Thank you. Maybe I'll shoot for January. Thank you. This was so helpful.
I am.
Okay. I think we're good. I think we're winding up.
Okay, great.
Anybody
Well-
else have anything? I'm reading. Oh, thank y'all for your kind words. Okay. Well, I wish you all the best. I'm glad it was helpful. I like the small group. I really enjoyed that. That was good. It's easier to teach to a smaller group for me. So, all right. Well, thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thanks to everybody. We'll see
Yeah,
you
good-
next week then.
And
Those of
if
you
you'll
who-
email me, if you guys will email me, I'll send you this PowerPoint so you'll have it to study. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Higdon.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Amy. Talk to you later.
Bye.